What's up with it? This is OGTV 45. And today, I'll be stepping out of the dirty sector to talk about some foundational Black American history. This particular segment will be called The Jack Johnson Effect.
Now, outside of this FBA space on YouTube, a lot of you might refer to me as a Pookie or a Ray Ray, but that's okay because I probably refer to you as a lame. And you really probably don't like me because you went on a date with one of my baby mamas and she told you she needed 2 plates to take home for the kids and made you pay for it and said her baby daddy was a deadbeat. But it wasn't even really for the kids. It was for her and her bisexual homegirl. Yeah, they were bumping uglies after your date. That's why you didn't get none. They'd set it up the whole time. But I digress.
Reason I'm talking about the Jack Johnson effect is because there is a misconception that the reason so many Black Americans have European ancestry in their DNA is because of the horror story that we've all heard about Master taking some helpless little slave Black girl behind a shed and having his way with her. We're not going to deny that that ever happened in some cases, but there were also cases like Jack Johnson, who was a professional boxer from the late 1890s. His career was about to span about 30 years or so. And during that time, in the 1890s, Black men were not allowed to date white women in America. We've all heard the stories of Emmett Till and the Rosewoods and all these other stories. We've heard about the Black men getting hung from trees, sometimes hung in public, for so much as smiling at a white woman or winking their eye at a white woman. It was outlawed at that time. But Jack Johnson openly paraded around white women in the public at that time. And the reason that he was able to do it is because Jack Johnson was the baddest man on the planet. Before Muhammad Ali, before Mike Tyson, Jack Johnson out of Galveston, Texas, was the big bad Black Negro that could whoop everybody on the planet's ass. And nobody couldn't do anything about it. Which leads me to the next guy I want to talk about. His name is Cornelius Klutz. You see this woman in this picture right here? This is my great-great-grandmother. Her name is Josephine Klutz Jefferson. She was the wife of my great-great-grandfather, William Jefferson, the mother of my great-grandfather, Willie Jefferson, and the grandmother of my grandfather, Herbert Jefferson. Miss Josephine Klutz appears to be biracial. It's because she is. But it's not because Massa took some helpless little slave girl behind the shed and had his way with her. No. It's because this man right here, Cornelius Klutz, my great-great-great-grandfather, this is 5 generations back in my family tree with history and photograph. Cornelius Klutz, my great-great-great-grandfather, married my great-great-great-grandmother, Florence Matilda Garver Klutz, who was a white woman. So this is before Jack Johnson. This is right on the heels of slavery. As soon as they told the niggas, y'all free to go now, my great-great-great-granddaddy walked out the gate, spun around on his heels, looked back at Master daughter and said, girl, I seen you watching me in them fields all that time. Come on here. And she went. Needless to say, my great-great-great-great-grandfather wasn't too happy about it. But Cornelius Klutz never hung from a tree. My family historian, my Uncle Butch, who's known in Harlem as Brother Herb, he runs with Brother Reggie and Sinetta crew. Shout out to my Uncle Butch for helping me out with a lot of the family history. That's my dad's younger brother. But he was around to sit at the feet of my great-grandmother, Laura Jefferson, to hear a lot of family stories. I, too, got a chance to meet my great-grandmother, Laura Jefferson, but I didn't get to, go all the way back into the great-great-greats. But I got the soup to T, the details. See, in order for Cornelius Klutz to have, my Uncle Butch told me that he and my great-great-great-grandmother, Florence Matilda Garver, they left from either Mississippi or Georgia and went to South Carolina, which is like jumping out the frying pan into the fire, pretty much. And throughout the duration of that time, like I said, he didn't get dealt with like that. So no one told me this in particular, but just, exercising my own intellect, it would lead me to believe that my great-great-great-grandfather, Cornelius Klutz, wasn't nothing to play with. Jack Johnson had to be able to whoop everybody in the world ass to walk around with a white woman. This is years after Cornelius. So that tell me either Cornelius was an ass-whooping nigger or Cornelius was a gunslinger. Which, and if you know anything about me and my history and my background, before going to prison and learning about Islam and changing my life, I used to be a gangster. Yeah, I used to be a gangster. I used to be a gunslinger. I used to run around town shooting folks out their shoes. And all these years, folks told me about how bad of a person I was. And I'm starting to believe that I may have got it honest. I'm really starting to believe my great-great-great-granddaddy, Cornelius Klutz, was a bad nigga. He was a gunslinger. Why the Klan ain't hang that man in South Carolina and he walk around with that white woman, making babies with her? Why they ain't done him nothing? They done it to everybody else. They ain't done it to my great-great-great-great-great-granddaddy. No, they didn't. Not Cornelius Klutz. No. Must have been something about that man. I'm saying this to say every day wasn't a losing day for the black man in America. The diaspora, as they call it, has this, this misconception that, the white man foot been on our neck all this time and we just some bootlicking slaves over here who never stood up for themselves. The fact that my great-great-great-grandmother is a white woman doesn't make me believe that, my great-great-great-grandfather, Cornelius Klutz, forsake the beautiful black queen for the love of a white woman. No, that's not what I believe. What I believe is my great-great-great-grandfather, Cornelius Klutz, he took his BBC and he shook it in a white man's face. That's what I believe. That's my personal belief. Yeah, I believe that was a statement at that point in time. In the 1800s, the mid-1800s, that was a statement. Yeah. Nigga, what you gonna do? So Cornelius either had to know how to squabble or Cornelius was quick on the draw. But ain't no two ways about it. You ain't living in Mississippi or South Carolina in the 1800s as a black man with a white woman if you no sucker. So I'm a living testament of foundational black American history that the black man didn't lose every day. He won sometimes too. And we don't only have European ancestry. The majority of us black Americans don't only have European ancestry due to the horror stories you heard about on the plantations. My little cousin G got a baby by a white girl right now. Every Negro I know, somebody in their family, a son, a brother, a kid, or somebody, that had a baby with a white girl. So I look at it like this. Out of all the countries in the quote unquote diaspora again, America's the only one in which the blacks are the minority. So I feel like we have a better understanding of white folks than other blacks outside of the diaspora. Why? Because everywhere else, they're the minority and you're the majority. So more often than not, you've only seen the worst of the worst when it comes to white folks. Black folks growing up here have seen the worst of the worst white folks and the best of the best white folks. It's too many of them here. And we know all of them ain't bad. We know some good white folks out there. And we got that eye, we can spot them. A no good, dirty redneck cracker, we know what they walk like, what they talk like, what they smell like. We can look them in the eyes. We can look at the back of their neck and tell who and what they are. And we know white folks out here that just want to live. They don't want no smoke with nobody. Having that intimate knowledge of them, I think sometimes it makes other black people in the diaspora look at us as if we're emulating them or as if we're siding with them or something to that effect when it's neither. When it's neither. History shows that they emulate us. And we don't side with them. When things aren't going the way they're supposed to go, we fight to change them against them. We fight against them to change things when we have to. We do that whatever we have to do. From protesting on down, we fight when things aren't going the way that we want them to go. We don't just accept anything they throw at us. So I hope that other blacks within the diaspora understand that, that there's not this inferiority complex that we have to white folks here in America. When we say we feel as though we have ownership in this beautiful country. We don't reject being black when we proudly claim that we're American. When we say we're FBA, we're foundational black Americans, people say that's a bad thing. What do you think, I should be ashamed that my great-great-great-grandmother was a white woman? I should denounce her? I should say I hate all white people knowing that? That don't make sense. I got white people in my family. So what? White people been in America since America started. Black people been in America since America started. They did some hunching. I'm thankful to be able to know and tell a story about my great-great-great-grandfather, to be able to pass this on to my son so he could pass it on to his son. How many people you know can tell stories 5 generations back about their family? Here in America, when it comes to foundational black American people, I know quite a few who can. Because we've been here. Our people been here. Through all the wars, our people been a part of that. Does it make us less black than an African? Absolutely not. Does it make us less African than an African? Absolutely. It makes us American. We are foundational black Americans. When I look at how my people have the ability to get things accomplished when they work together, being so small in number here, making up only 13% of the population here in this nation. And then I look at the great continent of Africa, where it's over 400 million black people that's just in poverty alone. That's not even counting the total population. That's just the ones in poverty, extreme poverty. About 420-something million people in extreme poverty. How many white people are in South Africa? Why are they living a life of luxury there in a continent where there are so many Africans, if the true warrior spirit and the true fighting spirit resided there? This is just a question I'm posing. Because I come from a long, long line of badass niggas. My great, great, great granddaddy walked around with a white woman on his arm in the 1800s. He wasn't no punk. It's sort of about killing that whole perception that we were the weak ones. I don't know where they got that from. We were the weak ones. We were the lazy ones. No, we were the strongest ones and we were the bravest ones. We ain't go nowhere. We changed where we was at. How you leave where you was at because it wasn't right? Come over here where niggas change things and talk down to them. You couldn't even change things in your home. Y'all was afraid to march down on y'all government. I thought the military was gonna take y'all out. Y'all said y'all don't want that smoke. Y'all getting on a plane. We didn't back down from it. We still went. There are some foundational Black Americans who have stood tall through all the oppression. They still did what they wanted to do. They never bowed down. And my great, great, great granddaddy was one of them. Jack Johnson effect.